Okay. Having heard no objection, the court will move forward then. Mr. McKeska, would you please begin the announcements?
Drake McKeska, attorney for the department.
Katarina Lewis, Belong Permanency Specialist.
Ashley Crouch, Belong Permanency Supervisor.
Kathleen Savage, attorney for the respondent mother, Mariah Caldwell. Ms. Caldwell is ready. We're present, Your Honor. Ms. Caldwell, if you'll announce your name for the record.
Mariah Caldwell.
Richard Saldivar for the father, Mr. Rodriguez. I was not able to confer with the jail to get him here, Judge, but I'm ready for this hearing.
Kendra Sims, attorney ad litem for the child.
Amy Harding, Hill Country CASA Supervisor.
Okay. Both parents have been served in this case, so we'll go ahead and proceed. Ms. Lewis, your report states that at this time Millie is 1 and she's in fictive kin placement in Gillespie County, Texas, correct?
Yes, Your Honor. Well, she is actually in Montgomery County now.
Is it Montgomery County now? Okay.
Yes.
What day was she moved to Montgomery County?
He was moved last Wednesday on October 28th.
October
18th.
28th?
18th. I apologize.
October 18th. That's okay. Made me question the timeline of life for a moment there. I was thinking it was not the 28th yet.
Not yet.
All right, October 18th.
Yes.
And that is Montgomery County.
Yes.
And it's a relative placement.
Fictive kin.
It is fictive kin. Okay. So she went from a Gillespie County relative placement to a Montgomery County fictive kin.
Yes.
Is that placement safe and stable, or sorry, safe and appropriate, meeting her needs?
Yes.
Is it in her best interest to remain in that placement?
Yes.
And she's basic level of care?
Yes.
What was the reason for the move?
Miss Hoffert just needed, she wasn't able to care for Millie anymore. She has her other grandchildren in the home. And so we also would like her closer to Mariah, because Mariah is in the Houston area for visits.
And the report reflects that she is up to date on everything.
Yes.
And primary permanency goal, family reunification.
Yes.
ECI didn't recommend anything.
No.
And she giggles a lot.
She does. She's cute.
All right. Concurrent goal, relative adoption.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And let's talk about contact visitation with parents. What have they been exercising? If anything, I know Dad probably hasn't done anything because he's incarcerated, but let's talk about Mom.
Well, Dad did have a visit actually on July 7th, but he has not had any visits since then. Mom had a visit on September 21st for 4 hours. And Millie, because she was in the Houston area. We have offered her visits. However, she hasn't been able to find transportation in her inpatient facility. But now that Millie is back in the area, we hope that we can get more visits frequently now.
Despite the fact that she's had some transportation issues with visitation, are you asking to continue the current schedule but increase as appropriate?
Yes.
Okay.
She has been doing Zoom visits weekly though, so she has had contact with Millie.
Right.
Yeah.
You just haven't been able to observe, or courtesy worker hasn't been able to observe how those visits are actually going in person because they haven't occurred.
Not yet, no.
Okay. And Miss Caldwell is still an inpatient?
Yes.
How much longer does she have?
She has finished or almost finished the program. However, she has an extension right now because she was needing housing. But she did tell me that she plans on going to a program called Gabriel's Project. She was waiting to see if she could get in. It is in Victoria, Texas. So we would have to figure out visitation through that.
How far is, Victoria's an hour and a half from Montgomery County about?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Maybe a little bit farther. Okay.
It's 3 hours.
Oh, 3 hours. Okay.
Yes, but I'm not, they put me on the waiting
Minute.
list because I got accepted.
Hang on just a minute. We'll get to you in just a minute. All right.
Okay.
Miss Lewis, is mom otherwise in compliance with her family planning service?
Yes.
What does she need to do in order to remain in compliance?
Just continuing her aftercare substance use services, along with continuing her individual counseling. And then also we will just do random drug tests once she leaves the facility. She's been getting those at the facility, but once she leaves, we will take over that.
Okay. And she has a copy of her family plan of service,
Yes.
and you've discussed it with her?
Yes,
You believe she understands what's expected of her?
I do.
All right. And then what about the father? Does he have a copy of his family plan of service?
Yes.
Have you discussed it with him?
Yes.
Did you see him in person, or did you talk to him over the phone or Zoom, or what was that?
I've been able to meet with him once in person. And we've also had courtesy workers go visit him.
Is he in jail or in prison?
He is currently in jail.
Okay, I was gonna say, because what I'm hearing is the prison system's really hard to get into. But okay, and which jail is he in?
The Houston jail, located on San Jacinto.
Okay, so it's Harris County. That's what you said, Mr.
Yes.
Bolivar, correct?
Yes, Judge.
All right.
He was seen yesterday.
Okay, very good. And then when was the last time, I know, well, I guess it would have been the day that Millie was moved into the placement was the last time somebody was there.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Rodriguez is not in compliance.
Not at this time.
Does he understand what's expected of him and understand how his incarceration is causing an issue?
Yes.
Is he cooperating with you otherwise?
Yes.
Has he stated what his intentions are?
Not at this time. No.
I don't believe I asked you at the outset, is there any Indian child heritage in this suit?
No.
You're not aware of any? Okay.
No, I'm not.
As of today, is it safe to return the child to either parent?
No.
As of today, has either parent fully addressed the concerns that brought the children into the care of the department?
Not at this time.
Has this family that Millie has been placed with expressed any interest in long-term, or is it just for the case? Have you had that discussion?
They have expressed long-term.
Mr. McCaskill, do you have any questions for Ms. Lewis?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Savage?
Yes, the visitation for the mother haven't been able to occur because the mother is expected to be transported to the visits. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now that the child is closer, will we be able to get those visits increased?
Yes.
Okay. And at this time, what services does the mother have left to complete?
Just completing that individual counseling. She also just needs, I believe she has completed her parenting education course since we've talked. And then just following through with her substance abuse aftercare.
Okay. And at the facility that she's at, she can have Millie placed with her. Is that correct?
Yes.
And she would have support and assistance with Millie there at the facility.
Yes.
And she would be supervised by her counselors there. Is that correct?
Yes.
So what danger does the mother present to the child?
At this time, we'd just like to see sustained sobriety concern, or yes.
And that can be monitored while a child is placed with the mother?
To my knowledge, that is true. However, she's expressed she is leaving Santa Maria and going to Gabriel's project.
She is on a wait list for Gabriel's. Is that correct?
Yes. Last time I talked to her 2 days ago, she was waiting to see if she was accepted. So,
Okay, but she can stay at that facility that she's at. Is that correct?
yes, I believe so.
And even if she were to move to Gabriel's, she could still be monitored with her child there at that placement?
That is what she's expressed to me. Yes.
Okay. How far is the distance between Millie and Mariah now?
I would say about an hour, 40 minutes.
Okay, so is placement going to be able to bring Millie to Mariah?
Yes.
Okay. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Mr. Saldivar?
Yes, did you receive notes from the meeting with Mr. Rodriguez from yesterday?
Yes, I can send you those.
Okay, and do you know what was discussed with him yesterday?
He just stated that he had court today for his criminal trial and wasn't sure what was going to happen. He did state that he was accepted into a freedom substance abuse program and that he was having trouble getting a hold of you. So we will work on that. I know you were
Okay.
having troubles too.
What did the person visiting with him express that the jails were having trouble setting up a visit with him through the jail?
Yes.
Okay, and has he done any services other than that program you discussed right now? Any other services he's engaged in?
That is all that was spoken about. Yeah.
Okay, and he does have an updated copy of the service plan, is that correct?
Yes.
And there's no potential release date right now, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, will you follow up to see what happens with the trial to see if he'll be released?
Yes.
And did he tell you what his goal was after he was released from jail?
I do know that he expressed wanting to get into an inpatient program last time I spoke with him.
Okay, and has he had any contact with this child?
Not since being incarcerated, no.
Okay, once he's released, will the department set up visitation with him?
Yes.
Okay. And did he mention what inpatient program he was thinking about engaging in?
He was not sure. We were going to start with a drug assessment and see what referrals we could get for him.
Okay. Is it possible for him to write letters to the children while he's incarcerated?
I believe so. I believe, yes.
Okay. Does he know that?
I do not know. I will follow up.
Okay. Sounds good. Pass the witness, Judge. Thank you.
Ms. Sims?
I don't have any questions, Your Honor.
Any follow-up, Mr. McKeska?
No, Your Honor.
Any other witnesses from any other party?
No, Judge.
And I'd like to call Ms. Caldwell. It's your understanding that Millie could be placed there with you at Santa Maria, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you are currently on the wait list for Gabriel's, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
What's your
It could take
understanding on?
it could take anywhere from a month to a few months because my spot got given away. They couldn't get in touch with me. Like they were calling my cell phone. So I gave them my counselor's information this time. So I got accepted and they also have a spot for Millie, but now I have to wait until another place opens up.
Okay. Are you asking the court today to either place Millie in your care or to authorize overnight visits with you at the facility?
Absolutely.
Okay. And are you in compliance with every service that the department has asked you to complete?
Yes, ma'am.
Drug testing as requested?
Yes, ma'am.
And you have counseling services there at your facility, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you asking for those visitations to be ordered or the placement to be ordered due to the transportation issue that has kept you from being able to have in-person visits with Millie?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When was the last time you had in-person visit with your daughter?
September 21st. It was the only time in 4 months. This will be the 4th month.
Okay. So prior to then, when did you see Millie last?
The day that I left.
Okay. So at the very beginning of the case.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness.
Oh, I'm sorry. I saw her at the CPS office on a Tuesday, the first Tuesday of June, I think. Like it was the second. So I had to leave on June 2nd. I saw her the Tuesday after the 2nd.
Okay. So then
And that's the last time.
beginning of
So
June.
I've seen her twice.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Mr. McCusker Cross.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Coldwell, you're currently pregnant, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
And how far along are you?
7 months.
Okay, what's your expected delivery date?
December 14th.
Okay, and the Gabriel's place, you said they have a spot for Millie. Is there only one spot for a child?
No, it's for both.
Okay. And just for clarity's sake, you've only had 2 visits since the beginning of this case, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you think it'd be a good idea for you to have some visits with Millie prior to placement?
I feel like that's kind of a tricky question because when I seen her, she ran straight to me and she put her head on my chest and she said, "I love you" twice. And I don't feel that she's been disconnected from me at all. Like she really, when I talked to her on the phone, she said, she's like my mama. She knows what's going on, like, you know, who I am and stuff.
And in your current facility, is it never mind, scratch that. Pass the witness, Judge.
Any other cross?
Judge, I have a few questions. Ms. Caldwell, have you spoken to Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes, sir.
Do you know if there's a potential release date for him?
No, sir. I've spoken to today I have to call a prosecutor, so I will know more today, but I literally don't have any idea as to like when he would be released or anything like that.
Okay. Will you share
But
that
today I will know more.
Okay, and once you get that information, will you share that with Ms. Lewis, please?
Yes, sir.
And how do you contact Mr. Rodriguez?
He writes me letters every day.
Okay.
I get a letter every single day.
Okay. And to your knowledge, is he working any services at the jail?
Yes. He says that he sends me papers from going to classes, like church classes and stuff. He's totally he's devoted to the Lord, like, which was not him before. So he's completely invested in church, and he's been going to AA and NA. He said that it really helps him, and he's been super accountable for everything, like all the, you know, his mistakes and whatnot. He's been acknowledging a lot of it, and I feel that the letters that he sends me are actually very therapeutic for me and for him. We discuss everything that we hadn't discussed before and stuff.
Okay, thank you. Pass the witness, Judge.
But the program that he was in, he did tell me the name, but I could give it to Katarina tomorrow. Or I would have to go find it. It's in one of the letters.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Pass the witness, Judge.
Any other cross?
I'm sorry.
I'm asking the attorneys if they have any other cross examination for you. Ms. Savage, any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. What are your thoughts, Ms. Sims?
Your Honor, I went to visit Millie before she was moved, and she is a sweet, very animated little girl who seems right on target and it seemed to be doing very well. I did speak with the new placement yesterday, and she said Millie's doing amazing, that she's adjusted well, that she's sleeping well, that she's enjoying. There are 3 foster brothers. She's enjoying playing with them. She stays at home with the foster mom. Other than that, I mean, Millie seems to be doing very well. In regards to visitation, I'm newer on this case, but I would like to see some consistent supervised visitation before we make any increases or do any placement.
Okay. Ms. Sewell?
I have nothing at this time, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, just argument.
Go ahead, Ms. Savage.
Your Honor, we would be asking either for immediate placement of Millie with Mariah or significantly increased visitation. The department has these orders in place that was a catch-22. Mom's in a treatment facility that they're requiring her to complete in order to be reunified, and then they use that for a basis for why she can't see her child for an extended period. The testimony today, she's got to see Millie twice in the last 5 months due to the distance and due to not being able to secure transportation. And department could have made efforts to try to facilitate more in-person visits, and they simply didn't. So we'd be asking that the lack of visitation or in-person visitation that was outside of mom's control not be penalized against her. I understand wanting to be able to have supervised visits, but she would be supervised at this placement. It's a secure facility. There's other, her counselors are there. This is somewhere where Millie would be in a safe environment. And so given mom's compliance, given her sobriety, we'd ask that this child be placed with Miss Caldwell.
Any other argument?
Yes, Judge. Judge, at the beginning of this case, the order of the court was that the parents were to travel to the child in order to be able to exercise their visitation. So that expectation has been known since the beginning. It was presented at the beginning of this case that the facility that Ms. Caldwell's placed in would be able to facilitate that. Now, whether or not they were able to do that is a different question. But the fact of the matter is that she's only had 2 visits over the course of this case. So immediately placing the child back with her, I think, is putting the cart before the horse. I believe the department's in line with Ms. Sims' recommendation that we have some increased supervised visitation with placement, and then we can start examining whether or not placement would be in Millie's best interest. And Ms. Caldwell is still in her inpatient program. The program hadn't even been completed yet. She's currently in an extension at that program. So while we're happy to work with placement and work with mom to increase the supervised visitation, I think placement of Millie at this time is a little bit premature.
Court finds, for the purposes of the initial permanency hearing, that there's no Indian child heritage or evidence of Indian child heritage or indication of it in this suit. Court finds that the permanency goal of family reunification is appropriate in the child's best interest. Court finds that the placement in Montgomery County is safe, appropriate, meeting Millie's needs, and in her best interest to continue. Court finds that Millie is up to date on her medical, dental, and vision checks, and that her ECI evaluation came back recommending no services. The court finds that Ms. Caldwell is in compliance with her family plan of service. Court finds that Mr. Rodriguez is not in compliance with his family plan of service. Court finds that both parents have a copy of their family plan of service, and that Ms. Lewis and/or courtesy worker has addressed the concerns and made sure to go over those family plans of service with each of them throughout the course of this case. Court finds that Mr. Rodriguez, despite his incarceration, is cooperating with Belong. Court will find that it's not safe to return the child to either parent today, and that neither parent has fully addressed the concerns. However, I'm really proud of you, Ms. Caldwell, for 4 months of sobriety. I'm really proud of you for that. And it's a big accomplishment. You should be proud of yourself. And I'm happy to see and hear, and excuse me, I'm not feeling well. I'm happy to see and hear that you're saying and doing the things that you're saying and doing. It sounds, I understand Mr. Rodriguez is writing you letters, and I don't know if the two of you are going to be a couple after this or not, but it sounds like you, just focusing on you, have really learned a lot. And I understand that you're expecting, and obviously that's a big responsibility too. But I feel as if you're on the right track and that you're not just checking boxes. I feel like you're actually engaging and learning things. And so I'm proud of you for that too. In light of that, I'm going to order the parties, the staff, getting Miss Caldwell to Gabriel's project. And we don't have that staffing within 7 days to be on the same page. I want to make sure that everything is being done to enable her to make that transition. If it's all been done, then it's all been done. But I want to make sure that everybody in this case is up to speed on what could be done or what's been done and what can't be done. I don't want there to be any miscommunications or questions amongst the professionals on this case. I'm going to order that there be in-person supervised visits for Millie with Ms. Caldwell at the facility beginning immediately. Whatever her visitation schedule is, that needs to start happening now. I don't know why we only had 2 in-person visits. I'm sure there's explanations from all sides, but moving forward, she's going to have regular visitation. And I think it needs to be weekly. So weekly for an hour to start. If that goes well, and she hasn't moved to Gabriel's project by November the 15th, then we're going to start a full day visit every weekend. If she hasn't moved by December the 15th, if she's still on a wait list, then we're going to start an overnight every other weekend and a full day on the other weekends. And we're going to monitor this and see how it goes. You're not out of the woods yet, Miss Caldwell. You still have to do the services. You still have to participate in everything. You have to do the work. But I'm hearing halfway into this case that the permanency goal is family reunification. So we got to start acting like it. Once she is moved into Gabriel's project, then you all need to staff as to what sort of progress has been made. Because if it happens in 2 weeks, obviously we're not ready to place Millie there yet. But if it happens in 2 months and everything that I've ordered has occurred, then that might be a reality that we all need to consider. I agree with Mr. McKeska. Whatever the reason is, we only had 2 in-person visits, and Ms. Sims, we're not ready to make placement today. We're not ready to begin full day visits or overnights today, but we could be within the next several weeks. So our next hearing is going to be the permanency review before final order, January the 25th, 2024 at 10 a.m. It's January 25th, 2024 at 10 a.m. I have to admonish the parents. The state of Texas gives parents in CPS cases 12 months to demonstrate that you can provide a safe, stable, violence and drug-free home for your child. And in the event you cannot do so, the rights to your child could be subject to further termination after the case or restriction after the case or termination. Mr. McKeska, do I need to repeat any of that order? Did you get it all?
No, sir, I got it all.
Okay. And Ms. Connell, I appreciate what you and your family are doing. Thank you. Oh, I think we lost her. She was here. She's gone. But if somebody could please let placement know that I do appreciate what they're doing. All right. Is there anything I failed to address? Okay. Well, thank you all for your time and your service. If nothing further, all parties are excused. And Ms. Caldwell, good luck to you.
Attorney for the department.
Thank you.
Ms. Coffey.
Thank you.
Kim Coffey, belongs, adoption specialist.
Richard Tolliver, attorney for the child. Ready?
Amy Harding, Hill Country Casa supervisor, guardian ad litem for the child.
Ms. Coffey, since you were late, I'm going to allow the other parties to decide what your punishment's going to be at the end of the hearing. Okay.
That's perfectly fine.
We're good on time. I don't think so. Permanency goal for Dolan, relative adoption, placed with his grandparents, safe, appropriate, meeting his needs.
Yes, Judge.
In his best interest to continue that.
Yes, it is.
I saw he's up to date on everything.
He is.
And this is a family placement, so least restrictive placement available for him.
Correct.
And he's bonded to his grandparents.
Yes, he is.
Anyone else in the home?
The caregiver's 2 children.
And everything's appropriate with those relationships as well.
Yes, they're the cousins really enjoy him, so they get along really well.
Good. And he's got weekly physical therapy for his foot.
Yes, it just started last week.
Okay. And do you believe that that concern is being appropriately addressed?
I do.
Okay. And he's not receiving any other medication?
No.
Any known barriers to achieving the permanency goal of relative adoption?
Not at this time, Judge. I believe that Belong, CASA, and I think the Child Welfare Board are all coming together to fix some things in the home. I believe some holes in the flooring that need to be done, and then they will be licensed.
Any specific reasonable efforts other than what we've already talked about that Belong has made towards achieving the permanency goal?
I believe just assisting financially to, assist to get this family license to fix, pay for the construction costs to get that completed.
And their family, so they're probably going to do a HESHIG waiver.
Yes, I believe I do have the HESIG, but they probably will waive it.
And was redaction requested?
It was.
Okay. Mr. McCaskill, any questions for Ms. Coffey?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Bolivar?
Any orders that Dylan needs at this time?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
And his grandparents are meeting all his needs, is that correct?
They are.
And you're asking that this placement continue?
I am.
And the goal is to adopt with the grandparents, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, no further questions, Judge.
Anything else you want to add, Mr. Saldivar?
Judge, he's doing great with the grandparents. They're getting him therapy, physical therapy, and he's thriving with his grandparents. Judge, we're just working on getting them licensed. I think the only issue was the flooring at this point. And so I will be sending them an attorney to help them with the adoption.
Very good. Ms. Harding, I reviewed your report. I don't think there's anything in there that we haven't discussed yet, but do you have anything else?
No, we're just anxious to provide support to this family in any way that we can so that we can move forward and have this little guy adopted. And I feel like we've financially supported the family. Ms. Coffey is correct. The Child Services Board, CASA, and Belong came together, and I don't know if the contractor started work this week or if that's going to get out there next week. But those things are moving ahead, and that was the only known barrier that I was aware of for licensing to be completed. So, hopefully we'll be able to have an adoption pretty quick.
All right. Then for the purposes of the permanency review after final order, the court finds that the permanency goal relative adoption is appropriate in the best interest of the child. Placement is safe, appropriate, meeting his needs, and in his best interest to continue. Court finds Dylan's up to date on his medical and dental and vision checkups, and that he's receiving appropriate weekly therapy or physical therapy for his foot issue. Court finds he's placed with family and it's the least restrictive placement available to him, and that he is bonded to his grandparents and cousins. Court finds that he's not receiving any medication, and that at this time, the only known barrier to adoption is some repairs to the home, which are being appropriately and timely addressed. Court finds that Belong has made reasonable efforts, specifically in placing the child with family, assisting financially for construction and repairs, requesting the HESIG and the redaction. And the next hearing on this case will be a permanency review after final order set for March 28th, 2023 at 11 a.m. It's March 28th, 2023 at 11 a.m. Anything I failed to address?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you all for your time and your service. And if nothing further, all parties are excused.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.